I'm going to try to go a little faster on this one than I did with my last video. Most of the comments in this game are not going to be worth looking too closely at. I do like Obsidian Golem quite a bit. This is a nice value card and executes a decent removal. Although you have to let the creature hit you before you can play this. We've got Yeti Troublemaker, who's pretty sweet. Reliquary Raider is a nice rare. I think I'll probably be taking this. Just kind of gives you some good value when it attacks or blocks. If we're going to be in white, we will maybe be looking for a way to give this +1/+1 while it's in our hand, so it can trigger stuff that wants us to have 5 power if we end up with any of that. And not much else we are really interested in here. So we've got a white card to start off with. This guy's double white, and 5/5 for 3 is a pretty good rate. If the opponent targets it with a spell, it becomes a 1/1, but most of their spells are just going to be removal anyway. So if the opponent does something like a Levitate on this, that's really what we are hoping won't happen. No other white cards in this pack that could go with it. There's also a Static Bolt. Is pretty decent, and another Execute. I think we'll go ahead and take False Prince here and have a couple white cards. This guy's not bad. Silence and Ambush is a pretty cool combination because, like, if your opponent attacks with a flyer, this is good to deal with that because you can just knock flying off of them. And Rapid Shot is a decent trick. This Overwhelm creature is kind of a filler card, but it's a playable. If we are going to look to be blue-white with our False Prince, then it may be better to take the 3/4 over the Desert Marshal. We also could take this and just end up going either green or blue. We probably wouldn't want to be in both of them. In the next few picks here, we're going to be looking out for what colors seem to be most open in the cards we're getting past. So I think to stay safe, we're going to take the white card. Alright, so we've got Granite Monument's not really very exciting unless we're already in red. This is a decently powerful card. I like Loyal Watchwing quite a bit. I think this is my favorite card on its own out of the pack that we're looking at. Dispel is a playable. Amethyst Acolyte's pretty reasonable. And Dormant Sentinel's just pretty big. And you do want the big cards if you're in white. Since we're going to try to just stick with that, I'll go ahead and take the Sentinel over the Watchwing here. Although it may end up being that green is open, so we may end up moving into this later. Predator's Instinct's pretty sweet. That's a nice removal. We've got another Static Bolt that we're seeing here, but I think these cards are pretty close in power level. We'll go with the one that's on color, and we'll stay open. It looks like white is probably going to be open this draft, which is a nice thing for us. And blue, even though we just saw a Static Bolt, I'm not seeing a lot of blue here. Refresh does... Well, you can give a unit +4 health. That's decent. I don't know if we want another 7-drop right now, so... I don't really know if we want any of these. I think that Rapid Shot is probably the best single card in this pack. And we have been seeing a few black cards. Let's go ahead and take that. We'll just see if black ends up being open. There's another Amethyst Acolyte. Serpent Trainer is a nice one too. That would go well with False Prince deck. And I think the False Prince is a stronger card than Rapid Shot. So I don't want either of these white cards. So my pick here would be between Serpent Trainer and Amethyst Acolyte. And I think that they're reasonably close in power level, but I think that False Prince is a better card than Rapid Shot, so I'm going to base this pick on the fact that I would rather be blue-white than blue-black. We've got a Dinosaur or a Mana Fixer. I think having a pretty solid creature is more important. Good mana is nice to have, but if we don't end up with any fixing, we could still play a deck just fine. And yeah, it looks like the blue might be a little open here. Flash Freeze is nice, and Refresh, this does give a unit health, and that is definitely something I'm interested in. I kind of do want to try that out, but let's go with the Flash Freeze here. I feel like we might get more mileage out of that. This is a pretty nice couple of cards to see. Uncommon Blind Storyteller this late is fantastic. I really like this card. It in the long game lets you vastly improve the quality of your draws because you can throw away whatever cards you don't need. So anybody who's played Magic with a Merfolk Looter should know how good that sort of effect can be. And this is a nice blocker. This is a good thing for us to see because it suggests that the player who drafted these packs before us is going to be feeding us a lot of blue and white. We'll take the Storyteller here. And yeah, we got another blue and a white card. I don't particularly like either one of these. I guess I would rather draw a card than gain a life. And pull for, okay. So it looks like we're going to be pretty solidly in blue-white here. We've got a legendary creature, Roland the Iron Fist. We might take that just for dust if there's nothing better that we see. There's also a Permafrost here, which is a nice removal spell. It is a shame to open a high dust card and a nice removal spell. Lightning Strike is decent, although it can only kill an attacker, so if you're being aggressive, this is not always going to get your guys through, which is unfortunate. So, this is worth like 800 dust, but I don't think it's a card we're going to play. So I will just give somebody a nice gift whenever they end up with this draft, and I'll take the Permafrost here. Yeah, that's fine. Tundra Explorer is not particularly exciting. I'm not a huge fan of this, although drawing extra cards sometimes can be nice. We've got a Curve Filler here. This is a fine card. Terrax Hatchling is pretty nice, and it is in the colors that we're looking at, so drawing 2 copies of this flyer would be decent. We have a couple 3-drops, or we actually have one real 3-drop. Flash Freeze we may not end up playing. Yeti Spy we may not end up playing too. I think we'll probably play the rest of what we've got here. So this pick is between the Terrax Hatchling and Predator's Instinct. I really like both of these things. I think since we are in blue-white and there's a lot of Echo synergy, we'll go ahead and take the 2 flyers over the sweet removal. Let's see, another Tundra Explorer. We may end up with that here. We've got a nice blocker in Tower Top Patrol, although we saw one of these very late in the last pack, and we have a couple 4-drops already. We don't want to fill up on boring 4-drops, so we don't have that many spells. I've got 2. We've got 2 spells so far that I want to play. Yeah, we'll go ahead and take Tundra Explorer. It can. We don't have any 2-drops yet, so we'll be fine with that. Here's another Blind Storyteller. Champion of Progress, we're not in the right colors for that, although if we would have been green-white, we'd have a sweet legend for our deck. Yeah, I think this is going to be a Blind Storyteller over, like, Jotun Warrior. Or is it Jotun? I'm going to call this guy Jotun Warrior. It's nice. But I don't think the 5 is something we really want, and I'm very happy to have this card in my deck. I just love the card quality. I think this pick's just going to be a Twinning Ritual. It could do some cool stuff for us. Twinning our Terrax Hatchling would be pretty cool, because that, I believe, would give us 2 extra copies of it. So we'll be happy with that card. It impressed me quite a bit in the last draft I played, although I did not record that. There was some really cool things you could do with this. So again, if we were going to go into green, we could take Combra Healer. It would be a nice, powerful card. I think we're just going to go with Aerial Ace to keep our mana good. This is a decent one. All our units get +1/+1. We're seeing a lot of green-white in this pack too. Well, white is definitely a color that we should have been in. If we had taken any of the green cards, we might be in more of a position to go with this Amber Acolyte here, and we still might be. Although we are going to want to have a decent number of spells in the deck because of Tundra Explorer. And this is not a fast spell, but having your whole team get bigger suddenly can really help you break through, and I think Amber Acolyte's pretty replaceable. Xenon Guardian over, like, basically nothing here. It's a nice card. It gives us something to do in the late game, and then we've got a lot of bad stuff here. I don't think we want Accelerate, so we'll just take Daze. I like passing cards that are decent if we're not going to play them, because it's really unlikely that we'll play against the person ever who ends up drafting from this pool. So we may as well just give somebody a good pool with the things we're passing. Here we'll take the Amber Acolyte. I don't think we need another Flash Freeze, and I guess a Marn Camel is probably not something we'll play, but we'll take it. And Second Sight, that's a nice one. That has some cool synergies too with the Echo cards. This pack, none of the rare and the uncommons are not anything we want, which is a little sad. Let's go back through. Let's see. We're not going to play Daze. We will play these guys. We'll play Second Sight. We only have 1 2-mana creature so far that we're going to play. And we've got 20. Let's see. Unlock Potential. We'll probably play that. Okay, so we're probably going to play all the stuff we've got over here right now. So only 1 2-mana creature is not a great place to be, but I don't think that's enough of a reason to take Bold Adventurer over Serpent Trainer. The ability to get a couple of flyers out of this is a little too powerful, I think, to take a 2/3 over it. Mirror Image. Get a copy of one of your units. That could be good, although we don't have as many big things as we might like to have. Lumen Defender is deadly, and you gain 5 life. This is decent. I think we have a few 5-drops already, so this is not exactly what we're looking for, but seems like a decent blocker. And actually, that may just be what we take here. The Lightning Strike isn't going to be that much better than this, I think, because this will... It's hard to attack into. Like, if this had Ambush, that would be incredible. But this does give us a life buffer, and it pretty much wards off any attacks the opponent can do. So we'll go with the uncommon here. Let's see. Initiative of the Sands is a nice one. It'll help ramp us up to some of our bigger things. If we have a couple Initiative of the Sands that we can play on turn 1, we don't need 2-drops quite as much because we can ramp straight from 1 to 3 mana. Sauropod Wrangler is not going to do very much for us, and Yeti Snowslinger is decent. Ornamental Daggers is too. I actually do kind of like the Yeti here because we are low on 2-drops. So this is between the Yeti and the Initiate, I think. I will go ahead and take the Yeti here. I'm just kind of feeling like the Yeti's going to be good. Random Frogs. Choose a non-power card from their hand. Transform each copy in their hand, deck, and void into frogs with Destiny. So that means they get to play the frogs immediately. So we don't make our opponent skip any draws if they draw a frog out of their deck, but we can get all the copies of something and kind of neutralize them. I don't know that that is really going to be as useful in draft because the opponent is not likely to have 4-ofs. But it is an interesting removal spell. If you could hit a creature, if you could turn a creature in play into a frog, that would be great. But since it only hits something in their hand, I think we're going to pass on it. We'll just go with another Xenan Guardian here. This guy's pretty sweet. Pillar of Amar. And power gives you a 5/5. So this is a big investment as a 7-drop. But every time you play a Sigil, you get another 5/5. That's kind of huge. Our other option is a Stormlink, so we can either get a very late game card or a great early game card. And I think we're going to go with the late game because it looks like we're more of a slow deck here. This does make me kind of wish that I'd taken some more of the ramp spells, but we've still got time to look out for those. And a lot of the time we're going to be playing Blind Storyteller on turn 1 and activating it on turn 2 anyway, so we do have that we can do instead of playing a 2-mana card. We got a Stranger, a Minotaur, and not a lot else. This pack is pretty bad for us. So, yeah, we just don't want any of this. I guess we're taking a 3/3 for 3. Not really going to play that. Oh, but there's a False Prince, so that's sweet. Easy pick there. And I think this is a Dispel. We'll go with another Dinosaur. That's a nice one. I do love dinos. We get a white card, and I guess we'll take Ruin. We'll pass that good card to somebody else, because again, we're probably not gonna have to play against that. So it would be like we won't have to play against the pool that we're passing in this draft, and I think it's really unlikely that we would play against it in a future draft. So who cares? We'll just give somebody else the hookup there. I don't think we're gonna play that Camel. Not gonna play the Stranger, and We may play Backlash, but I don't really want to. Okay, so Crystalline Chalice is a pretty easy pick. When you have an on-color rare, it is often going to be a good idea. I'm not thrilled about this Avasaur, but it has some synergy with Echo. Unfortunately, I think this is the, wherever it was, the Terrax, I think this is the only Echo card we've got so far. So Crystalline Chalice is pretty cool. We can pump our creatures and draw cards. This is actually, we can pump our Blind Storytellers twice. So this will get us a lot of action out of those 0 power creatures. And we do have a good number of small things. That actually, we took a Lumen Defender, so we can pump this guy up to a 3/7 and actually do some damage with it. So that Chalice will be a nice one to have. We're not going to play this Saddle. Another Minotaur Ambassador. I don't think we need 2 unlock potentials. Aegis Mentor, all units in your hand with cost 4 or more get +2/+2. That is pretty sweet. I think that's our pick, because we do have a very high curve, so we're probably going to have to play a lot of sigils in this deck. Another False Prince is nice. Does not really have synergy with our Crystalline Chalice, but actually the frogs can get pumped, so if our False Princes get frogged, we can pump them up with the Chalice. Not a lot else going on here. Second Sight is not really something we would take over a nice beater like this. We've got another Twinning Ritual. I wonder, draw a copy of a unit in your hand. The copy gets +1/+1. I do not know for sure if that changes False Prince into a frog, but maybe we'll find out in one of these games. We could just do a little science. I'm sure somebody else could answer this for me, but it's not something I've seen come up. I would not expect this to turn into a frog if you target it in your hand, but it also wouldn't surprise me. There's some interesting rules situations with this game that come up that don't go as expected. So we'll take another Twinning Ritual. Why not? I don't think this is the deck for... excuse me. I don't think this is the deck for Amber Monument, because we do want to play we do want to get a lot of sigils out, so we really don't want this transforming. We want to, we're not going to stop at 5 sigils. We want to play, up to 7 and more. So that means our only other pick here is Levitate. And we've got another removal. Predator's Instinct is a sweet one. We've also got a Stranger that's on color. If this was a card that actually ramped our mana, that would be great, but since it just fixes our colors, I don't think we're going to have too much trouble with that, and we really want the removal over awkward fixing. Here's another one of those. We've got Dormant Sentinel or Predator's Instinct, and I think we're taking the Instinct again. We do have 3 7-drops already, so I think we're good on these. Amber Acolyte will be a nice one that'll ensure our land drops. I think we will probably play that, and I guess we'll take this blue card, and I guess we'll take this blue card, and I guess we'll take this, and we're done. Alright, so I think we took everything out that we did not really want to play. We don't want the Stranger. We might want the Yeti. I don't think we want the Yeti. We'll probably take that Yeti out. I don't think we want Backlash. I know Violent Gust is decent, but I don't really think it's something I want to play. Probably not going to play this Scaly Gruon, although we may need it for curve purposes. Not going to play that Camel. We've got a lot of good 3-drops in these False Princes already. All right, let's see. This is 40 cards, so we need to cut like 13 cards from this. So let's remove, I don't think we need a Levitate. Triple Predator's Instinct may end up being too much. It depends how early we can get our stuff going on. So we don't want Accelerate. Tundra Explorer is reasonable. I think we will play that card. I'm going to take out Violent Gust because we need to make cuts. I will probably take out one of these Twinning Rituals. Ageless Mentor we're keeping. Amber Acolytes. I think we will keep both of those. I don't really want Dispel, although it's a reasonable card. Do not need a 1/4. Probably don't need Unlock Potential. We've got Crystalline Chalice, so that's a pretty good pump card for like most of our stuff. This guy actually we could cut if we end up being there. Serpent Trainer is reasonable. Xenon Guardian is pretty reasonable. Oh, we've got 2 of those. There's just one as a premium. Aerial Ace is not super exciting to me. I'm not going to play that red card. Lumen Defender we're keeping. Reliquary Raider we're keeping. Terrazon we're keeping. We could maybe play one of these. Yeah, one of those is fine. I think having 2 7-drops is quite enough, but we will keep at least one of those in there. So now we're down to 32 of these, and we need to get... We don't have any power so far. So... Oh. Let's see what it tells us if we add power. So this is actually 20 power, and I think we don't need that much. It's telling us we want more time than... it's telling us we want more white than blue, which looks like the right thing here. We do have our false princes, which have heavy white requirements. So we actually need to add a card back into this. Let's take out a time. Oh, nope. Take out a time sigil. How is this 51 cards? Wait a minute. What's going on here? All right, so that's 45. So we actually... Okay, we still need to cut cards. I confused myself there for a minute. So this is only 13 sigils so far, and we need to probably get that up to 19. So we need to cut 6 cards still. Well, sorry about that. I confused myself when it added all those sigils. I didn't realize it was going to push our deck up over 45. That's not what you want to be doing. So let's see. We can cut Aerial Ace. Not thrilled about that. We've got a lot of 1-drops, so we can cut Yeti Spy. We really want to be playing Blind Storyteller on one. Second Sight is best with Echo, and we only have 1 Echo card. So we're gonna cut that, because if you're not like getting synergy out of this thing, you're basically just like discarding it to draw 1 card, because you put 1 back and then you're gonna draw it again the next turn. So it basically just cycles. It's not something that we need to be doing. I think we're gonna keep Tundra Explorer. We might take out the Snow Slinger. Although, these guys can get a little bigger. I guess we could take out a Predator's Instinct, but I'm not really looking to do that. Twinning Ritual on our False Prince could be either really great or really, really bad. We've got decent 3s. We've got 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. We've got 7 3-drops in our deck, but I think we want to keep all of them. The Amber Acolytes will be pretty important for us. We need to cut 3 more of these. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 5 4-drops. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-drops. We don't have any 6s. We got a disappointing lack of 6-drops in this deck, but that'll be okay. I guess we could go ahead and cut some 2s. I'm not super thrilled about them. We do want to have stuff that our Chalice can pump. Maybe we could cut this thing. Yeah, I don't feel like that's doing a whole lot for us. We want synergy with this. How many spells are there here? Let's see. Not actually a lot of spells. We have Twinning Ritual and Predator's Instinct and Permafrost. So I'm going to go ahead and cut Tundra Explorer. I don't think it's doing enough in our deck. And since we're doing it anyway, we'll just cut Yeti Snowslinger, and we're just not going to play 2-mana creatures. We're going to hope that we can Blind Storyteller on turn 2 or play a Twinning Ritual for one of our 3-drops, and then have a really good turn 3 and 4. And this is enough to add 6 sigils to our deck. This wants us to run 7 and 11. I'm actually going to make that into 8 and 10 because I really don't want to be missing out. Well, we do need double white though, and I suppose we've got a couple of white cards that can. We've got a couple of white cards that can give us an extra blue. But no, we want a Blind Storyteller on turn 1. So while we do have heavier white requirements, we only have 44. This is 18, so we'll go with We'll go with this. We'll go with 8 and 11. We really want to get one of those primal sigils on turn 1 for our looter, for the blind storyteller here. So that might even be a reason to go with 9 and 10. I guess if we go with 9 and 10, we'll just be discarding extra blue sigils as much as we can. It's pretty close. It's not... I don't think it's something that's super vital. Let's go with 9 and 10. I really want to hit that blue on turn 1. So this will be our deck right here. And where'd the rest of it? I thought there was more deck than this. It's amazing how much that got cut down. Okay, so this will be our deck, and I will be back with some games.